October is a month in which we look at the importance of mental health, and the 10th of October is Mental Health Awareness Day. In the studio with me this morning, I have Monya Louw from Let's Talk Psychologists. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks, and you?
Also doing very good.
So before we get too deep into the mental health element, tell us a little bit about, your role at Let's Talk Psychologists.
So I'm a clinical psychologist, and we basically just work to help people build strength, build resilience, help them work through life challenges, any type of, mental health conditions they may be struggling with, as well as do things like this, educate people on mental health awareness and, just see how we can help the community.
Talking about mental health, and often, we talk about it in a form of sort of having a lack of mental health, and the difference between sort of mental health and mental well-being. And, as you said there, it doesn't necessarily have to be that there's a major issue for people to come and talk to someone like you. It can just be maybe you struggling with anything and you just need someone to talk to.
No, definitely. I think that is the one thing that a lot of people struggle with. They think when I go see a therapist or I go see a psychologist, it's this, you have this major mental health condition. But people forget that sometimes we just need somebody to talk to, talk about challenges, work stress, marital difficulties, anything like that. So we're open to talk. Let's talk about anything.
You said strength as well, and along that same line, we don't go to the gym only when we're injured and we need rehabilitation. We go to the gym as a daily sort of process. So talking about these sort of mental health issues should also kind of be part of our workout regimen. How important is mental health to our overall well-being?
Extremely important. We often just think about our physical health, eating healthy, sleeping, things like this. But we forget that our mental health and our physical health is so closely linked to each other that if we are feeling down or if we are anxious, we're feeling maybe, a low mood, it can affect our concentration. It can affect our, overall immune system. We need to make sure that the whole tree is working, right? So if we look at our mental health as the roots of the tree, right? And we are not looking after our mental health, then the tree can't stand tall, right? But if we make sure that the roots, the functioning body or the functioning system of the whole body is standing tall, it can go through any type of challenges. So you can't just look at the exterior. You need to make sure the engine of the body is working. So we need to make sure that we are linking both of them and looking after both of them.
You talk about linking both of them. I was going to say the flip side of that coin as well is how sort of influential is a lack of physical health? If someone's not taking care of themselves that way, how does that tie into struggling with your mental health?
Well, if we are not sleeping well, if we are not eating well, if we're not doing our regular checkups, it can definitely have a huge impact on our mental health. If we are under severe stress or we are burnt out or we are constantly anxious, that has a huge impact on our blood pressure. That has a huge impact on our heart rate, our cortisol levels, everything in our body. So we need to make sure that we make time for both. If our physical health, if we are not exercising, we are constantly going to be drained. We're not going to be energized. If we're not eating healthy, what is that feeding our brain? Right? So if you're putting in junk food constantly, not making time for a veggie here and there. I know broccoli isn't anybody's favorite, but find something. It's that thing of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So let's try and see what I like. There's no specific regimen. And I think a lot of times people feel like I need to do exactly this, exactly this, exactly this. But don't put that pressure on yourself. See what works for you. Can you exercise for 5 minutes? Do that. Can you walk around your office? That is already enough. Um, so yes, both of them, vice versa, is very, very closely linked.
I like that because I think, magazines, TV shows,
Mm.
all of that, they present us with this sort of perfect image. And sometimes part of your anxiety is the fact that you can't live up to that perfect image. So I love that you say, just do what works for you. Figure that out. Don't put extra pressure on yourself. But you mentioned stress, burnout, anxiety, those all contributing. What are those the biggest factors contributing to mental health issues in Namibia?
In Namibia, we definitely face a wide variety of mental health conditions. Um, you know, Mental health conditions like stress, anxiety, depression, trauma, things like that. Overall, we also have our, psychosocial factors, which is, unemployment, alcohol misuse, which then leads again to the mental health conditions. Um, but the ones we see the most, if I can say on average, would be stress because of financial problems, unemployment, anxiety, with students with exam stress. They just finished graduating. What now? What am I supposed to do? Um, Depression, where people are feeling hopeless, they're feeling tired, they're feeling alone. Something that we've noticed is also trauma. I think trauma is something we don't really talk about. And if we look at, the accidents in Namibia, the car accidents, here and there, violence, that's really, really traumatic. And a lot of times we just think about the victim, but we don't think about the people that witnessed it. So yes, there's a wide variety of challenges Namibians are facing, but we just need to take each other's hands and take it, face it,
Mm.
and see how we can take it from there.
You talk about the trauma, and I think Namibia is still struggling a lot with almost a generational trauma based on things that happened in the past that haven't necessarily been dealt with. And parents may be taking that out in the wrong way on their kids. And how do we start breaking this sort of almost stigma about mental health? As you said earlier, you've got this idea that I can't say that I'm struggling a little bit because that means I'm need to be put in a straitjacket or something, which isn't the case at all.
Yes,
How do we break that stigma of allowing people to realize that it's okay if you can just be having a bad day and you just need someone to talk to?
I think we actually spoke about it this morning, and it's something that I like to always mention is usually when you speak to a psychologist or you speak to a counselor, you think that, oh well, okay, that person has it figured out, But I can promise you every day has a new challenge. Every day we are struggling with something new. And there already we need to break the stigma to understand that there is no such thing as perfect, or there is no such thing as being mentally healthy. I think you mentioned earlier mental well-being. And I think I like that concept a little bit more because it's a continuous journey that we need to go on everyday little things that we can do to improve our mental well-being. Some days are going to be good, some days are not. So to break the stigma is start talking about it. Take away that image of, man up, you need to be tough, get over it. That is not how we do it. We need to be compassionate with people. We shouldn't be judging them because they're going through something bad. I think a lot of times it's a sense of it's a luxury to be depressed. And that is a statement that is absolutely horrible. That thing of, I don't have time to be depressed. I just need to keep going. But some people really are struggling. And we need to take away that shame we put on people that are struggling, whether it's with trauma, suicide, depression, something as simple as anxiety that everybody has. Um, So we just need to start talking about it. We need to be sharing our own stories. If you come to me and say, wow, I've really been stressed lately, to say, I've also been stressed, but let's talk about it. Not, yeah, everybody's stressed, get over it.
Yeah.
Because what do you do with that person? Immediately they go silent and they're like, okay, I don't want to talk about it. So talk about it, be open, be honest, have compassion with each other. I think that's how we need to break the stigma.
You spoke about constantly working on our mental well-being. Yeah, what are some of the practical steps that people can do? I mean, meditation, maybe that doesn't work for me. Yoga, maybe, I'm not comfortable somebody seeing me in that kind of position, or, whatever it is. It'll be different for every single person. But what are some of the practical steps that people can take to work on their mental well-being on a daily basis?
So like I said earlier, I think everybody wants to do it very specifically, like I need to do this, this, and this, and this. But find your, what is a nice word we can say? Find your little toolbox, create a toolbox for yourself where if you have specific challenges, you go back to that toolbox. And that toolbox, if we need to look at daily habits, very simple things everybody should be doing is eat healthy, get in your meals of the day. Whether you like it or not, find ways of liking it. I'm not saying eat broccoli and vegetables every day. You can eat your steak and your, slap chips and so on. But, find that balance. Getting at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep, really, really important. Our body needs to reset. A lot of times we think sleep is a luxury, but it's actually the only time our body resets, and we need to give it that time. Connect with people. Life gets busy. Every year we have 24 hours every day, but life just keep getting busier. So stay connected, slow down, take it easy. Try to stay mindful. Like you said, yoga, not for everybody, but as I'm sitting here, this is the only place I'm at. My mind is here. We're busy with this. When I walk outside, I'm going to look at what trees can I see rather than just rushing to the next place. So be mindful, take it easy, slow down. It's okay. Some days you're going to be at 20%, some days you're going to be at 80%, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. And obviously to seek help if you feel like you need somebody to talk to. Don't ever feel like your problem is too small. We love to chat. Let's just have a chat and see whatever we can come up with.
That's Monya Louw from Let's Talk Psychologist talking to us about the importance of mental health and mental well-being. Monya, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.